Welcome back. Well, yesterday UT Tyler hosted a talent talk at the UC Theater. The Talent Student Media event focused on the subject of civility. Speaker, author, and coach Diana Damron served as a panelist. Her latest book, Civility Unleashed, Using Civility to Survive and Thrive in the Workplace, was published in 2016. And Diana joins us this morning with more on yesterday's great event, plus the power of civility. So thanks so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for the invitation. It's great to be here.
So tell us, how was yesterday's event? It seemed very special.
It was very special. It was so much fun. And what I really loved was all the questions from the students. Great questions, great insight. Yeah, as far as how civility really affects them in their daily life. So
now, before you tell us why civility is so important, especially in today's age, how do you personally define civility?
I define civility as the consistent communication of respect. So the hard part of that is the word's consistent, right?
Right.
So it's the whole idea that we need to be respectful to one another, whether or not we agree with one another, whether or not we like one another, whether we look like one another, whatever it is, whether we've had that morning cup of coffee, which we just learned might be dangerous, right? I mean, we might be in a funk because of that. No matter what, we literally need to show civility and respect for the other person.
And in today's age with social media and all that, it's, I mean, more important than ever, right?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. There's never been a time when civility isn't important, because it's really civility that opens up the door to being able to have a conversation, to have real communication. Because if we don't, and if we don't show civility both ways, in other words, you say something that offends me, if I take offense and shut down that conversation, I have just now wiped out an opportunity to learn something from you, right?
I gotcha. So and it's a two-way street.
Yes.
And I was watching a great TED Talk you gave yesterday, and you were kind of likening the civility conversation to dancing, right?
Yes.
How do those two connect?
Well, I think sometimes when you think about the fact that civility, it is like a dance in the fact that we follow one another, we kind of mirror one another, and sometimes we step on each other's toes, and we can take that fall, but how do we deal with it? That's where civility comes in, where it's difficult when we take that fall, coming back, showing respect to the other person, and kind of getting it all together, and saying, I'm going to show respect, even though I just ended up on the ground. I'm not in a great position, but I want this conversation, I want this communication to continue. There's something that's really important here to learn.
That makes sense. Now, obviously, books here on Amazon all about civility, but you also do personal coaching.
Absolutely.
So for people who are watching now at home, what is like a takeaway you can give them right now that they can implement in their lives and get a little bit more civility going?
I think one of the things to really remember is that we tend to think the civility should be coming from the other person.
Yeah.
I talk about that we communicate our character, in other words, who we truly are, by how we exercise our civility. And I chose that word exercise really specifically because, like an exercise, it's something that you work at day after day, because it's not always easy to hear something that you don't want to hear.
Of course not.
So it's that whole idea of being able to understand that I'm not waiting on you to be civil. It comes from me, which means I have to show appreciation to you. Literally, this silly thing called a smile makes all the difference in the world. It wires the brain differently. And that we just don't write off, well, that's just who I am. That my authentic person is uncivil. We have to kind of redefine sometimes that authenticity and see ourselves as responsible for civility.
All right, so that makes sense. Just got to smile maybe a little bit more. For more information, where can people go to find out more about you and your books?
DianaDamron.com.
All right, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you.